In this video, I'm going to talk about the free body diagrams. We're going to know why we need to draw free body diagrams, how to draw free body diagrams, and I'll do a few examples on how to draw free body diagrams. Okay, so to start with, we need to know what a free body diagram is. And what is a free body diagram? A free body diagram is simply a presentation of an object with all forces that act on it. So all forces that act on it, if they are being presented on that object, then we're going to have what is known as a free body diagram. In abbreviation, they call it FBD. So these forces that act on an object can either be the reacting forces or the applied forces. In the previous video, I talked about the reacting forces and the applied forces. So if you didn't watch the video, you can go back to it and know more about the reacting forces and the applied forces. So why do we draw free body diagrams? The reason is so simple. We draw free body diagrams so that they can help us solve problems in mechanics, to visualize all the forces acting on single body to determine equilibrium. So I think this is the main reason why we draw free body diagrams. How do we draw free body diagrams? Drawing free body diagrams, it's so simple. I'll show you the 4 steps that you can follow to draw the free body diagrams. It's so simple and easy, and you'll never go wrong about it. So the first one is to separate the body from all the supports. If the body has been supported by a pin, a hinge, or any supports, you need to separate the body from all the supports. Then the next one is to identify the forces that are exerted by the supports. If it's a pin support, you need to know the forces that are exerted by a pin support. If it's a fixing support, you need to know the forces that are exerted by the pin support. So simple. Then the third one, you need to identify all the applied forces. Any force that has been applied on that object, you need to identify it. And lastly, you need to draw the body by showing all the identified forces. So the last thing is to draw the body showing all the identified forces. And those forces are the applied force and the reacting forces. In that way, when you do that, then you're done drawing the free body diagram. Is it simple? I guess so. Okay, so I have this example. This will be my first example. So the question is, draw a free body diagram of the uniform beam of mass 100 kg. Okay, so we have been given this beam of 100 kg, so we need to consider the 100 kg even as we draw the free body diagram. In other questions, they'll tell you to neglect the weight of the beam. But in this question, we have been told that the mass of the beam is 100 kg. So we need to consider the 100 kg. Okay, so just like I said, we need to identify the supports, to separate it from the supports. We know that here it is a fixed support, and this beam, we are going to separate it from the fixed support. Okay, then the next thing that we are going to do, it is to identify the reacting forces on this support. So we know that this is a fixed support, and we need to identify the reacting forces. So in the fixed support, in the previous video, I said that there are 3 reacting forces. We have the X force, the X reacting force, and the Y reacting force. Then lastly, we have a couple. Okay, so this is how a free body diagram of this support will be. We're going to have the X reacting force, the Y reacting force, and a couple. This is for the support. And then for the mass, we are going to have the weight of the beam, because the beam is of mass 100 kg. So in this way, we identified this, the reacting forces and the applied forces. This has been applied and this has been applied. So this is the full free body diagram of this beam. How about this one? Draw the free body diagrams of each component and entire system. Neglect, friction, and weight of all members. Okay, this question says we draw the free body diagram of each component. Okay, so to start with, we're going to start with the wheel. If this is the wheel, we know that this is a cable and this is a cable. So the free body diagram for this would just be the tension and the tension, because we know that here we only have one reacting force and here we only have one reacting force. Okay, then for this one as well, the free body diagram is the cable. We're going to have one reacting force, which is this one. Then for this one as well, this is a pin support. It's a pin support. As you can see, the reacting force, we're going to have it from this end and from this end. So this will be our free body diagram for this component. And for this one, it's a hinge support. As you can see, we're going to have the reacting force in the X and the reacting force in the Y. And here we also have another pin support. We're going to have a reacting force in this direction, as you can see. Then here we're also going to have another reacting force, which is this one. Because of this support, we're going to have this as our reacting force, and we're also going to have another reacting force, which will be our XB, as you can see. Then the entire system, it will be this plus this plus this plus this. Okay, so it will be something like this one. We're going to have this, which is the XY reacting forces at this point, and our tension from here. As you can see, we're just combining everything. This will be our tension. And for this component will be added on to this one, and we're going to have this reacting force. The total for all these components will be something like this. As you can see, here we have two reacting forces, and here we have one reacting force, and here we have one reacting force. And this will be our entire free body diagram for this system. Okay, so the last one I have is this one, which is a bit simple. You can try it by yourself, or we can do it together. So for this one, let's start by identifying this kind of supports that we have. So for this one will be a bit simple, because we can see that we have our hinge support and our roller support. So we know that on our hinge support we are going to have two reacting forces, that is in the X and in the Y axis. And on the roller support we are only going to have one reacting force, which is perpendicular to the surface. So for this one, we're just going to have one reacting force in the X, one reacting force in the Y, and the reacting force in the Y. And that will be our free body diagram. And it will look something like this one. On the hinge, we only have two reacting forces. On the roller support, we are going to have one reacting force. And this will be our entire system. This is going to be our free body diagram for this entire system. It looks so simple, right? But let's see if we are taught to draw the free body diagram for each component. It will be something like this. We're going to draw the free body diagram for each component, and each component will be like this. We know that here we have our AX force and AY force, which is this one, and here we're going to have our BY and our BX. Same with this one, we have our CY for this component. Our CY, we're going to have our BY and our BX here. Same with this one, we're going to have these forces. So if we are to add all of these, we're going to have the same system. Let's see how it's going to be done. Okay, so we can start with the upper one. So we have our BX and our BX here, we're going to have a 0. BX, we're going to have 0. Our BY and our BY, we're going to have 0. BY, we're going to have 0. At the end, we're only going to have a 10 kilonewton, and we are going to have our 10 kilonewton. When we add all these forces, we're going to have 10 kilonewton as our final answer. Then at this part, when we add our EX and our EX, we're going to have 0. EY, we're going to have 0. DX, we're going to have 0. DY, we're going to have 0. And we're going to have 0 reacting force and 0 reacting force. For this one, we're going to have our AX and our AY. And for this one, we're just going to have our CY as our reacting force. And in total, when we sum up all these reacting forces, we're going to have this as our final answer. So you can try out these two. This is a simple beam that has been given, as you can see, and we also have this system. So you can try out these two systems. If you can draw the free body diagram, that would be so great. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to share the video.